Okay, looking over at examples on the back. So I went ahead and rewrote my steps over here on the left so I'd have them as a reminder. So first step is to distribute, and in this case I do have something to distribute. I have a 3 that needs to be distributed to everything inside these parentheses. So we're going to start there. So I'm going to multiply the 3 times the 6p, which gives me 18p. And then I'm going to multiply 3 times negative 1, which is negative 3. And everything else is going to stay the same for right now. Okay, so that is going to be step 1. Now, step 2, combine like terms. So I look to the left. I have a variable term and a constant. Nothing can be combined. I look to the right. I have a variable term and a constant. Nothing can be combined. So I can move to the third step, move the variables. So now I have to decide, am I going to move the 18 to the right or am I going to move the 11 to the left? And in this case, again, it's just easier to move the 11 to the left, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to subtract it. And on the left side, I'm left with 7p minus 3. And on the right side, I'm left with a negative 45. And then now I have a nice two-step equation that I can solve. I know how to do this. So I'm going to add the 3. And I have 7p is equal to negative 42. And then final step, I'm going to divide by 7. And so p appears to be negative 6. And so we just need to check ourselves and make sure that that works. So I'm going to do 3 multiplied by 6 times negative 6 minus 1 is equal to 11 times negative 6 minus 45. And I'm kind of moving into the other territory, but that's okay. All right. So first step, let's take care of what's inside the parentheses. So 6 times negative 6 is negative 36 minus 1. We're going to keep everything else the same for right now. Sorry, and that should have been a minus 45. I apologize. So I just changed it to a plus and negative. It's the same thing. Okay, so now I have negative 36 minus 1, which is negative 37. And now I just need to do some quick math. So 3 times negative 37 is going to be negative 111. And on the right side, 11 times negative 6 is negative 66. And that negative 66 minus that 45 also gives me negative 111. So yes, if I plug in negative 6 to the original equation, it makes everything balanced, it makes everything true. So negative 6 is the correct answer. Okay, so we're going to continue with number 9, same process. So we're going to start with distribute. So I'm going to take and distribute this 9 to everything inside the parentheses. So 9 times m is 9m. 9 times negative 3 is negative 27 plus 3m is equal to 7m plus 43. All right, so now step 2 is combine like terms. So if I look to the right here, I have a variable term and I have a constant, so the right side cannot be combined. But if I look to the left, I do have 2 variable terms that can be combined. So I can actually combine this before I go any further, okay? And so since it's staying on one side of the equation, I can just combine it with that addition. So 9 plus 3 is going to be 12m minus 27. Everything else is going to stay exactly the same. I just combined those, okay? So notice, I want to make sure you see this. When I'm moving something from one side of the equation to the other, I use an opposite operation. I had a positive here, so I'm going to subtract. Down here, because it's on the same side of the equation and I'm not moving it from one side to the other, I'm just going to add them together, okay? So I want to make sure you see that. So now that I've combined these, I've added them together. Now I need to move this 7 over here. That's when I'm going to use that opposite operation. I'm going to subtract this time from both sides, okay? So notice the difference. This is combining like terms because it's on the same side of the equation. This is moving variables because it's on opposite sides of the equation and we want to move it that equal sign. Okay, so subtract the 7, we end up with 5m. And then we're going to add the 27 is 70 And then we're going to divide by 5. And we get 14. And then, of course, we're going to check our answer. So we plug everything back in. So 9 times 14 minus 3 plus 3 times 14 is equal to 7 times 14 plus 43. Okay, so I took everything that was an m up here and I plugged in a 14. And now I'm going to solve. So 14 minus 3, and we'll take care of the grouping first. So 14 minus 3 is 11. And now I have a bunch of multiplication to do. So 9 times 11 is 99. 3 times 14 is 42. 7 times 14 is 98. And then we're just going to add these together. So 99 plus 42 gives us 141 on the left side. And 98 plus 43 gives us 141 on the right side. And since this balances out, it means that this is a correct value. Okay? All right, now number 11 has one last tricky thing that we need to talk about, and this will be the last one that we'll do together, and then you will have an opportunity to do these on your own. So, first step is to check for distribution. So we know that we need to distribute this -2 to both things inside, but there's also here a set of parentheses, okay? And so here's where we need to be very careful. This 5x is not being multiplied by this set of parentheses. There's a minus sign in between it, okay? But that minus sign really means that there is a 1 here. So there is a -1 that needs to be distributed here, because we need to make sure that we're subtracting the x and we're subtracting the -18 when we go to combine these. So easiest thing to do is remember that that's a -1 and distribute it, okay? So we're going to distribute the -1 and we're going to distribute the -2, and then we're going to rewrite what we get. So we start with the 5x, nothing has changed there. Then we have -1 times x, which is -1x. -1 times -18 is a +18. And on the right side we have 6. -2 times x is -2x. And -2 times 15 is -30. Okay, so we've distributed that step 1. Now, step 2 is combine like terms. So on the left side, if you look, we have a 5x and a -1x that need to be combined. So I'm going to add them together. 5x and -1x is 4x. And then we bring down that +18. Now on the right side, notice that we have a 6 and a -30 that need to be combined. So I'm going to add them together. 6 plus -30 is -24. And then we bring down this -2x still. All right? So now we have a pretty simple equation. We've got variables on both sides though, so we do need to go ahead and move the variables. That's step 3. So I'm going to move this -2x over, okay? So I'm going to add it, okay? Because I'm going from the right side of the equation to the left side, this is where I'm going to use an opposite operation. It was a negative, so I'm going to add it to get rid of it. So I'm going to add it over here as well, okay? So that gives us 6x on the left plus 18 is equal to -24. And then we're going to finish this out and solve it like a two-step equation. I have a +18, so to get rid of it, to move it, I'm going to subtract it. So 6x is equal to that would be 42. And then we're going to finish out by dividing by 6. And so x is equal to -7. And then before we finish our final answer, we do need to check ourselves. So we're going to plug all of that back in. So 5 times -7 minus, and in parentheses, -7 minus 18 is equal to 6 minus 2 multiplied by -7 plus 15. So let's take care of grouping first. So this needs to be grouped and this needs to be grouped. So still everything else is the same for now. -7 minus 18 is going to be a -25. And then in parentheses over here, negative 7 plus 15 is a positive 8. Okay, now we're going to take care of the multiplication. So 5 times negative 7 is negative 35. And negative 2 times 8 is negative 16. And now we're going to finish this out and double check to make sure we got the correct answer. So negative 35 minus a negative 25, if you plug that into the calculator, it comes out to be negative 10. And 6 minus 16 also comes out to be negative 10. So because of that, we know this is the correct answer. Okay, so those are the steps for how to solve a multi-step equation. And it's a lot. It's a lot of information. It's a lot of things to remember, but that's what the process is. And you have several questions here to practice, and then you will have more questions to practice tomorrow. So go ahead and do 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, and 12. So 6 problems there. Go ahead and complete those. If you need me to check them, I'll be happy to do that. You can actually check them yourself using this process. But if you need me to check your answers, I'll be glad to do that. Just send them to me. Let me know what your answer is. I can let you know if it's correct or not. And then we'll do some more practice problems tomorrow and make sure that we understand this. Okay? Let me know if you have any questions or need any help.